Good afternoon, all. I'd like to welcome you to the Revenue Generation and Partnership Development session. Today, we're going to hear from Jim DeCook and Dominique Scheck. They're two individuals from that department. If you weren't aware already, since 2015, the San Diego Airport Authority has hosted Meet the Primes, and this is a platform where our partners from prime concessionaires, contractors, public agencies, business support services have come together to provide resources and education for the business community for their success. Although the past year has been a crazy whirlwind, we wanted to be able to pivot, and we usually have this event in person, but we have pivoted to offering it virtually. So we want to take this moment to thank you for all who are new and coming back as well for this reoccurring event. And with that said, I'd like to open the floor up and welcome to the spotlight both our presenters, Ms. Dominique Scheck and Mr. Jim DeCook. All yours.
Okay, thank you, Christine. So we'll kind of walk you through some information on revenue generation and partnership development group and kind of what we do. Next slide. Okay, our agenda today. First of all, we'll talk about what we do in our department, what our focus areas are, a little bit of history on our revenue background, the COVID-19 impacts that's obviously with us today, our current program for revenue generation, and future opportunities. Next slide. So what do we do? So we have three teams that are focused on non-airline revenue enhancement initiatives. And we have one team dedicated to the airport small business program. So under the three teams we have at Revenue Generation and Partnership Development, we have one team for concessions. And under that group, they handle food and beverage, retail, common use lounge, and concessions marketing program. Under the parking, passenger services, or rent-a-car group, they handle the rent-a-car program, passenger services, in-terminal and outdoor advertising, any easements on the airport property, any government leases we have with the airport, any land leases or other agreements, and then parking revenue strategy. Our third group is under strategy and new business, and they handle acquisitions, development, and sponsorships. Of course, small business handles federal regulations and requirements, as well as local program. So I guess I'll call the RGPD group, which is Revenue Generation and Partnership Development Group, oversees the acquisition, management, and disposal of authority properties. We identify, analyze, and implement any related revenue enhancement strategies. We develop and implement real estate and related agreements and manage the business relationships of the tenants and the public. We ensure operational lease compliance. We have oversight of tenant development and improvement projects and ensure management oversight of any tenant activities. Next slide. So for fiscal 20 revenue at the airport, we had about $66.7 million overall, and this is a rent to the airport authority. And so for food and beverage retail, we had about $23.1 million, which is 35% of the total. Land leases or other, about 6.3 million, 9%. Passenger services, about 1.1 million at 2%. And our rent-a-car program is about $36.2 million, about 54% of the program. Again, these are approximate numbers. And obviously with the pandemic level, it's hit us pretty hard. So these numbers are down from the previous years, obviously. And this is revenue collected by the authority, not sales. and it does include the percentage rent and fixed land fees. Just for a fact, the rent-a-car program does not include the CFCs or other information or other numbers that we don't collect. We had to pass on to the different entities. And other agreements also include a cellular carrier services, which generate about $325,000 in a fiscal year. And land leases includes things like our fixed base operation, as well as the wind tunnel. Next slide. COVID-19 impacts. Obviously, we've had a dramatic impact with COVID-19 starting in March of this year. I counted the date from January through, I guess this is September 20th, September 19th and September 20th. Our passengers are down about 62%. Our sales and revenue in the concessions and rental cars and the whole group are down about 73%. And there's potential increased cost to operators for adhering to new health guidelines, such as obviously mask, plastic shields around the cash registers, other types of divisions or within the stores, the concession spaces, some, stickers and different things we've had to do to comply with the local health codes and to get us open again. Late in 2019, we had an RFP we had put out to address expiring leases on the retail side and to add some food and beverage side, because we were really short on food and beverage through 2019. But obviously with the pandemic, that changed our whole traffic situation. So it caused a number of reduced passenger levels. So now there's not a warrant for the additional services. So we've taken a step back and we canceled that RFP. Plus, we have operators that are in the spaces that are trying to make some money with a lower volume. So obviously there's not as much capital investment available for these turbulent times. And we also delayed any midterm concession work that was required in the leases. And with that, I'll pass it over to Dominique.
Thanks, Jim. So as part of our current program with the in-terminal concessions, these are the logos of some of our operators. So we have our food and beverage operators on the left-hand side, and then our retail operators on the right-hand side. And just a note that for the retail operators, not all of their logos are represented because some of them I could not find a logo, and I did not want to misrepresent them on the public stage because that would not be very fun. But basically for our in-terminal program, the majority of the leases held by these entities that you see here, they all went into effect in December of 2012. So we have 6 operators operating 10 leases on the food and beverage side, and we have 8 different retail operators operating another 10 leases on the retail side. And most of these legal arrangements are in the form of joint ventures. And that is when we have usually a prime concessionaire, or like a larger business is kind of generally the norm in this type of industry, but they partner up with a smaller business to form a joint venture to legally manage these agreements. And here in San Diego, most of our legal arrangements do incorporate the use of small business joint venture partners. And we actually have 2 agreements on our food and beverage side that are held exclusively by small business companies that they manage their own lease. They're not in a joint venture. So here in San Diego, we do try to make packages small for small businesses to be able to bid on without having to team up when we can and where it makes sense. And the current program, prior to the COVID-19, we had 80 permanent stores, 6 temporary units, and 1 vacant unit. But with the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic, that has caused us to close down about almost 70% of our operations just due to the lack of employments that we have right now. So these are just some of the brands that we have represented in our airport. As you can see, they are a mix of local and national concepts. In the aviation industry over the past couple, like almost a decade now, the trend is to actually have more local representation of brands in their airport so that when people travel, they can get a sense and feel of the destination that they are departing or coming into. So concessionaires generally like to establish partnerships with local businesses to represent them, usually in the form of a license agreement or another type of arrangement. And then here in our airport, we have some brands that are very heavily involved in their representation at the airport. So they do want to make sure that the product that you're getting on the street is going to be synonymous with or very akin to the experience that you're going to get at the airport so that they can remain to maintain that authenticity of their brand. And we highly recommend that should local businesses partner up with prime concessionaires to represent them in the airport setting, that is a very good strategic way to go so that you can make sure your products and services, are represented the way that you want them to be represented. If you want to see a complete lineup of our stores, I've included a link at the bottom to our website where you can kind of browse the different categories. And then this slide just shows some of our retail brands that we have represented at the airport as well. And generally in the airport setting, news and gift stores do very well because most travelers are looking to grab a last minute convenience item, whether it's a snack or a magazine or a book, something to kind of make their travel a little bit less stressful and more enjoyable. And we've seen within the past couple of years that traditional retail is changing due to, how much people are doing online shopping now, and there's price comparisons. And so we've seen retail, the environment and like just kind of where people are spending their money is changing. So it'll be interesting over the next couple of years to kind of see what's in it for airport retail, to see, are we still going to be stocking brands that have done very well, in the last decade, or are we going to be moving more towards like experiential elements? So that's going to be something that, all of us, not just within the US, but even internationally, are going to have to like evaluate and pay attention to as consumer preferences change as well. So as part of our current program for in-terminal advertising, we have a company called Clear Channel Airports that is under agreement with us, and they are responsible for selling all of the different ad spaces, as well as working with potential small business vendors on any of, however they complete their transactions. Advertising in airports traditionally is not really a big area of opportunity for small businesses just because of the way that it's set up and the type of scope of work that they're looking for. It doesn't really lend itself to being something that small businesses can usually participate in that's like, a very strong, viable opportunity. That's not to say that there isn't an opportunity. It's just that anybody who kind of is in that world would need to work with our current contractor, who is Clear Channel, to strike a deal and make something work. And the airport is also under negotiations right now with a different company for our outdoor advertising, which we historically have not done a lot of. You won't see a lot of advertising on the exterior of our terminals, but that is something that we are looking into and hopefully moving forward with as another revenue generating opportunity for the airport. And then we also have a slew of passenger services, and these items are mainly gained at helping the passengers make their travel experience, just better and more enjoyable, more convenient. These are not really geared at generating a lot of money for the airport. But we have services such as At Your Gate, which is like a food delivery platform where you download an app and you can order food from various vendors or even retail items from different vendors within our airport. And they have dedicated staff members that will actually deliver your purchases to you at your gate without you having to go find it in the terminal. So that's something newer that we've implemented over the past couple of years. And it's been pretty successful, and you'll see that type of model at other airports as well. And then we have the traditional services like shoe shine, ATMs, currency, brochures, and then we also try to implement pilot programs when they do make sense. Currently, we have a company that does those rechargeable, portable, like cell phone batteries. That you only pay a one-time fee, and then you can swap out those batteries anywhere that you find their little kiosks. So that's been going well, and I think that they're starting to have more competitors in the field now, but they're currently still under a pilot program with us. And we also have a vendor who is offering PPE vending as a pilot program as well. This type of situation usually will have opportunity for small businesses to participate, but you kind of have to look at it by case situation, depending on what the product or service is. And there's no guarantee that a pilot program will lead to a long-term contract. So you just kind of have to keep your ears open to see if we have any RFPs or solicitations that go out for any type of service that you may potentially provide. And then with our rental car center, this is actually one of the newer facilities on the airport that opened up in January of 2016. And it's a huge 2 million square foot facility. We house about 14 different brands that operate on site. And we also have about 4 brands that operate off site as well. And this facility is maintained by a third-party facility manager called Contractors Solutions. And this is where the most opportunity to participate with a rental car operation would be is actually through being a vendor or supplier to Contractors Solutions and not necessarily a rental car operator. The rental car industry is also a very specific type of setup where it requires a lot of capital to house your own fleet and maintain your own operations. And in order to operate on site at the airport, there are many like overhead fees associated with paying rent and cost recovery. And even though we try to break down opportunities where smaller companies can come in, you basically have to have a guarantee amount of activity, amount of rentals that you're processing on a monthly basis in order to make the financials work for your business. And we actually had a smaller firm come in at the start of the program in 2016, and then they operated for about less than 3 years, and then they had to terminate their agreement with us. So, you know, these types of agreements are long-term binding legal arrangements. It's not the type of thing that you just want to come in, try it out, and then if you don't like it anymore, that you can just cut the cord. There's a lot of legal ramifications that go behind the scenes that when you are signing up for an agreement with the airport, you need to really understand like the long-term consequences and what you're really signing up for. And with that, I will hand it over back to Jim, where he's going to highlight some of the more tangible upcoming opportunities that we have in the upcoming years.
Thank you, Dominique. So as many people may have heard about, we have an airport development plan called ADP, which is the Terminal 1 replacement that we have started on. The board made an award to a design build company a few months ago. We are in the process right now of starting that validation process, and that'll be coming up. And you can click on the website here that will take you to that information, give you an overview of what that terminal will look like, and kind of give you some information. And with that, there's going to be probably an increase from the current Terminal 1 concession program. It'll be increased by 3 to 4 times and offer a number of opportunities for both small and local business as well as a national brand. So definitely a lot of opportunities out there. This will probably be coming out in an RFP process in the next couple of years. Right now, the schedule is to open this new terminal in late 24 or early 25, phase 1. And phase 1 will be for 19 gates. And then we'll tear down Terminal 1 existing. And then we'll put a connector between the new Terminal 1 to Terminal 2 and open 11 more gates. And that'll be another year, about 2 years to complete that project. So initial ADP will open in 24, 25, and then the phase 2 in 26 or 27. And again, that will be increasing our concession space by 3 or 4 times. On top of that, we've got the T2 West Common Lounge. So Terminal 2 West, which is where Delta and United fly out of right now. We have a large space, about 10,000 square feet on the 3rd floor, right above boarding level, where we're going to put an RFP out for a common use lounge. That'll be going out in the next by 30 days here or so. So you'll see that on the street. Other potential lease expirations. Right now, all of our food and beverage concession leases expire either in 2023 or 2024. So, and there's probably, like Dominic said, there's about 6 leases. They probably include anywhere from between 35 and 45 actual concession spaces within the airport. So they'll be coming available too in 23 or 24, along with the extra space in the ADP. Innovation Lab. The Innovation Lab does 3 sessions a year with different focus for each session. Sometimes they're open sessions, sometimes they want specific products they're looking for. If you're a small business company, a local company that has a unique product or have a unique offering, or you have some great ideas, this is a great place to go into the Innovation Lab, and they'll work with these individuals to kind of help test their product in the airport environment, and then actually start working on how to sell that product, and gives you a chance to test the product in the airport environment, real world environment, and actually get you some experience on that. Again, there are some open sessions, but sometimes, majority of times, they want specific things they're looking for, but it's good to register for that, and you can kind of see what they're looking for, and you may know someone that has a product or an offering that may fit in that Innovation Lab. Next slide, please. And with that, any questions? So if we have questions about what we presented here, on the concession side, Dominique Scheck can be contacted. On the passenger services and rental car side, Melina Fithen. And any internal advertising questions will go to Susan Diekman. So those will be part of the presentation. And with that, I guess we'll go to any questions.
Yes. Thank you both for a great presentation. So I don't see any questions at the time, but let's go over some common questions that people might have thought of or have not thought of. So what is the cost per square footage to rent a space out at the airport for concessions?
You want me to take that, Jim?
Go ahead, Dominique.
Okay, so that's a common question that we get a lot, and where the airport is different from your traditional commercial venue is that at San Diego Airport, we do not lease based on a per square foot rate. The way that rent works here at our airport is that the tenants will usually pay us a percentage of their gross sales. So that's worked out at the lease level between each legal entity. And they will give us, for example, like anywhere from 10 to 15% of their gross sales. And that is the rent that we collect.
Thank you, Dominique. I'm sure this is going to be one that a lot of people are probably waiting to hear. How do I get my product or brand into the airport concession program?
And I can answer that. There's a number of ways to do that. If like in this time period where we don't really have any opportunities available, you can definitely contact our current operators and work with them. They're always looking for local products. Matter of fact, I have been out and about in the downtown area, different events, different festivals, and I found product that I've got contact information, went back to some of our operators, said, hey, here's a good product, looks great. You may want to contact the manufacturer provider. And in many cases, they brought in product from these suppliers or these manufacturers or just these local small businesses, whether it's, a jam, a jelly, a candy, or whatever it may be, who knows, that they're able to sell within their stores. So it's a process that big companies have to go through, but a lot of the big companies do look for local products because they want that local feel. So it's always a opportunity to do that. And we can definitely give you some contacts and steer you in the right direction.
Great, thank you. We do have one question, or a few. We are an SBA 88 minority-owned general contractor and certified by airport on local business enterprise. How do we get opportunities to construct the new restaurants or retail stores?
So all the contractors would be hired by the individual concession companies. The airport doesn't hire the contractors for the restaurants or the shops. They're hired by the concession operators. But you can definitely, we can give you a list of concession operators we currently have. Again, what you'll see as the time gets near when we start doing RFPs for the new concessionaires, there'll be, obviously meetings where we have to approve those companies, and you'll see who those companies are, and you can make contacts with those companies, and we can provide you with names of those companies and those contacts.
We have a slide in the presentation that shows you who the current operators are. So that's a good place to start. But like Jim said, as we move forward with new opportunities, once you start seeing the solicitations go out, announcing those, then you're going to want to keep involved to see who the potential bidders are, and then who the winning awardees are, because they would be the ones that would make the decision on who they choose to hire to do all the capital build outs.
Great, thank you both. I have one more question. Is there IT services purchasing for the rental car center handled by the airport purchasing or by the facility manager?
Are you talking about like, is the question pertaining to like cellular service, or like for normal customers trying to use their cell phones? Are they talking about telenetwork, like computers and stuff that staff on site at the rental car uses?
It says IT service purchasing, so maybe Paul could clarify if you can, please. Oh, actually, Christine did answer him. And you know what, disregard that. Actually, Christine wrote him back and gave him the Conrec contact information.
Okay.
Maria, I have one more question that came to me through email from a gentleman who can't get on the, he's using his phone, so he can't get in the chat box.
Okay.
And his name is Scott Learman, and he would like to know when you may go out to bid for snack and beverage vending.
That is, we don't have a specific time for that yet. We are looking at right now doing some vending RFPs, probably in the next year or so. I would just recommend that you get on to the Planet Bid website, get registered, and just monitor it and keep on top of it from that perspective.
Thank
I'd like
you.
to add to that as well for that response. Small business development, we have our landing page, and if you are unable to make it to our 8:30 session, we work with all our departments within the airport to update 3 futures lists, one on concession passenger services, construction, and also professional services. So that's on san.org/small business. So you can take a look at that to monitor those pipeline projects as well, aside from registration on Planet Bids. All right, it looks like that is the conclusion of the presentation and Q&A part of this session. I want to give a shout out and special thanks to Jim DeCook and Dominique Scheck with all the time and effort that you took to prepare for this presentation. Thank you so much for your insight and educating everyone on all the specifics to concessions with the different components and buckets that we have. If you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you, Dominique. Just wanted to show a preview of the upcoming sessions this afternoon. It's actually at 2:30, pardon for the typo, but the Quieter Home Program session will begin at 2:30. That is on the Airport Authority's residential installation program. It's a federal program, so we highly encourage everyone to jump on that to learn more about that. Aside from the QHP session at 4 o'clock, the final session for the day, we have our Airport and Design Construction Department presenting on capital improvement program projects and upcoming construction work. There's always some type of work, maintenance, new builds that are part of our campus to make it better for our customer and create a better customer experience year after year. Tomorrow, our final day, we will be focusing the sessions on public agencies and business support services. So we'll have a panel with our public agencies and then some business support services such as the Procurement Technical Assistance Center and Small Business Development Center. And we will close out the day with a presentation from Business Incentive Credits. They will navigate all businesses on incentives and credits that will provide a cash boost for your business and recover money through business during these times. So that's a pretty interesting new idea and way of doing things. And lastly, as a reminder, we'll be sending out a survey tomorrow. We definitely need everyone's input. It's greatly appreciated to see how we can better the experience of our virtual format if we need to do that next year. And hope to see you all at the afternoon sessions and tomorrow. And we will now be closing out the sessions to prepare for the Quieter Home Program session. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you soon. And thank you again for the support team as well.